So for the recording purpose, let me repeat one more time. So in performance, these are the different phases in performance testing life cycle, which I explained briefly yesterday. And let us discuss now in detail each of them. Right. So the first phase is RFI and RFP, which I already explained yesterday, and this will be taken by care by your team lead or project lead. So junior resources need not bother about this RFI and RFP. Generally, your team lead or project manager takes care of this, right? So once you get the project, right? So now from here onwards, from the requirement gathering phase, every team member will be involved, right? Now let's discuss requirement gathering today. So and tomorrow we'll discuss test plan document, and tomorrow I'll start scripting with JMeter. So that is the plan, right? Thursday, Friday. So I'll start scripting on Saturday, most probably. No, Saturday we'll be having a break. So I'll be starting on Friday. So today I'll complete this requirement gathering, and tomorrow we will be completing test plan document, and then day after tomorrow Friday I'll be starting scripting with JMeter. So right now, so let's discuss this requirement gathering. So requirement gathering I mentioned as NFR, which stands for NFR stands for
non-functional requirement.
Non-functional gathering.
right, non-functional requirement, right? So now let's see what are the different what questions you, so basically requirement gathering means you have to collect the client requirements. Performance testing team has to collect the client requirements. Guys, if you don't understand something, please do feel free to stop me and ask your doubt. Okay, please don't keep that doubt in your mind, and like you cannot concentrate on the subsequent concepts, right? So if you have any doubt, like please please feel free to stop me and ask, get the doubt clarified. So requirement gathering means you have to collect, performance testing team will collect the client requirements, right? So what requirements we need to gather, right? So client came, we got a project for doing performance testing, right? Say for example, so Clear Trip or Make My Trip or some other website. So the client came to us for performance testing. So you are working in a service-based company, and client came for performance testing to the company. So client gave that project to some service-based company that you are working in, right? Now, how do you collect the requirements from the client, right? And what requirements you need to collect? The first and foremost requirement is, what is the can anyone guess, like what is the first and foremost requirement? You got some web application that you need to do performance testing. So can you guess some requirements, like what information you need to gather about that application based on the
critical
Time
or
period.
important business transactions.
right? So what are the critical business flows of the application? Yes. Next,
Target
timeline.
user load.
Perfect. Good. Target. What is the target user load? Next.
What is the type of application architecture?
Right. What is the application architecture? So may know is this Srilekha? Is it Srilekha?
Duration.
Sorry.
Duration, the time taken.
No. I am asking who is that? Sravanti, right?
Yeah, Shravanti.
Yeah. So application architecture. What is the application architecture? Yes. Right. And timelines or duration. Right. Means when should we start testing, and by what time we should complete testing. Right. What are the timelines? Duration or timelines. Right. There is one more thing, guys. One more very important thing. First and foremost thing.
Objective.
If it is a web application, yes. First, you should know what is the application URL, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. So you'll collect all these requirements. Not only these, like there are a lot of other requirements that we will discuss now, guys. That's why I asked you to go through the recorded session. Okay. I think I shared that recorded session, right, in the requirement gathering and all previously. I shared some 10 sessions, list of 10 demo sessions to you, right? This requirement gathering is there in that 10 demo sessions. I don't know how many of you gone through that, right? So if you go through that recorded sessions before attending the session, so then you will get a clear understanding. You can discuss any doubts immediately when we are discussing those concepts, right? Now let's discuss this requirement gathering in detail, right? Let me present this. So requirement gathering, can be broadly classified into three types. So I mentioned it here. They can be classified into three types: general, architectural, and business, right? Now let's see what are the general requirements. What can come under general requirements? First and foremost thing is, one of the first few requirements that we need to collect is timelines. What is the current project timeline to begin and close testing activities, right? That is starting and completion date. And another important thing is the application functionally stable and its functional testing is completed or not, right? So because if the application is functionally not stable, if there are some major functional defects, then there is no point in doing performance testing, right? Doesn't make sense to do performance testing, yes or no?
Yes.
Why Ganesh?
Because we need, I mean, that is a prerequisite for to do the performance testing, right? Your application should be stable and should not have functional defects.
Perfect. So we discussed that in one of the previous session. What are the prerequisites for performance testing, right? So in that, that session we discussed, these are the prerequisites for performance testing: a stable build with no major functional defects, right? Because if your application is not working for single user, definitely it will not work for under load, right? Performance testing is something which we do with more number of users. So if your application is not working for single user itself, then in doing performance testing doesn't make sense, right?
Yes.
Right. So we have to, we have, as part of the requirement gathering, we have to make sure that that functional testing is completed and application is functionally stable. The next one is URL and access credentials of the application, right? And any preference on performance tools, right? We have to check, whether you have to ask the client whether do you prefer any particular performance testing tool, or do you have a license already, right? Some clients may be maybe having license, their own license for the tool license, right? So you have to check with the client whether they have any tool license, performance testing tool license already with them, right? So example, Loadrunner or JMeter or Neoload. I'll add one more tool. So Neoload is also becoming popular, right? So Neoload is another tool, right, which has some market share. So I added Neoload also. So apart from that, you have many tools, guys. Like there are around, let me show you the list of performance testing tools in the market. So you have, these are the major tools: Loadrunner, JMeter, Neoload, and RadView, WebLoad, Seal Performer, IBM RPT. This is developed by IBM, obviously, right? Our rational performance tester. And Gatling, Locust, Grinder, these are all open source, right? And there are few other tools like Load Ninja, Load View, and Load UI Pro. These are the major tools in the market. Okay, there are many other tools also. There are some in-house tools also. Some software companies develop their own tools, right? So those are called as in-house tools. In-house tools means, so in-house tools means, yes, these are developed by some companies, right, for their own usage, right? So those are called as in-house tools. There are many other tools, apart from this, but these are the major tools, in the market for doing performance testing, right? I have highlighted the three tools which are having majority of the market share as of now, right? These two tools are having majority of the market share. Around Loadrunner is having around 50% market share. JMeter is having around 20 to 30% market share, right? And then Neoload may be having some 10%, and 20% maybe. JMeter may be having 20%. Neoload may be having 5 to 10%, and rest all other tools occupy the have this remaining market share. All right. So we have to ask the client whether they have any preference for any particular tool, or whether they have any license, whether they already purchased any license for the tool, right? Because based on that you have to build your team, right?
Yes.
See, some people may be having experience only on load runner. Some people may be having experience only on JMeter, right? So like based on the client preference, like you have to hire your, I mean, you have to onboard your team, right? Your team lead or project lead should onboard your team, right? So that like, and also like based on that, your test plan and all will depend on this tool, right? So you have to find out, like if the if client is preferring any tool, client prefers any tool, and also budget, whether they have, if you have some load runner is a licensed tool, right? So client, you have to check with the client whether they have that budget or not, right, to get the license. And also it depends on the protocol, your communication protocol. The reason is load runner supports almost all protocols. However, JMeter doesn't support all the protocols, right? JMeter hardly supports 10 protocols, 10 communication protocols. What is a protocol? What is meant by protocol, Dinesh?
The language used to browser and server is called.
Right. So protocol is nothing but communication language between browser and server. Right. So JMeter supports hardly 10 protocols. Okay. Whereas load runner supports around like 35 to 40 protocols. Right. Load runner is the oldest tool. It was developed in 1999. So it's around 21 years old tool. Right. And it is a pioneer in performance testing. Load runner is a pioneer tool in performance testing. What is meant by pioneer?
At the top among other tools.
No, pioneer means like who started in the beginning, the first one to start performance testing here, right? Pioneer means someone who is the first entrant into the field, who entered first into the field. That is pioneer. Yes.
So Pioneer, it is the first who started this performance testing.
So pioneer means, general meaning is like someone who is first in their field, right? So so here load runner is pioneer in performance testing. Pioneer tool means the first tool to uh, that was developed for performance testing. And like it is 21 years old tool, so it all supports almost every protocol, right? So and but however, like it is a licensed tool. It's a very costly tool, and whereas JMeter is an open source tool, right? So it is a free tool, absolutely free. Anyone can use this JMeter, right? And Neoload is licensed tool. Okay. And now, so coming to the next one, what type of performance testing should be performed, right? So this we have to decide, and we have to discuss with the client, and we have to come to a consensus, right? So we have to discuss with the client and come to an agreement, right? What type of testing should be performed, right? These are the different types of test: load test, stress test, soak test, and spike test. This depends on your application, what type of application that you are testing, right? Based on that, like you have to decide what type of testing you have to do. All right, we'll discuss these each of the different test types in the next session. Okay, that is also there. So maybe from next week I will be starting JMeter, guys. So we have to discuss what are the different performance testing types of testing also before starting JMeter. So maybe like this week, like we may be completing this. From Monday onwards we'll start JMeter. Okay. Next. So we have observed that in some cases firewall affects the results in load testing. Do we need to get the firewall clearance before starting the load testing, right? So let me explain this. What is this firewall? What is this firewall, guys? You have something called Windows firewall. I hope you know that. Everyone know that, right?
Yes,
Does
sir.
everyone know this? What is Windows? What is this firewall?
It's a protection one.
So if you type in Windows search box, if you type firewall.cpl, CPL for control panel. Okay. So you can see this firewall, Windows firewall. So what does this firewall do is it will protect your system from any hacking attempts like that, right? So this is, here you can see Windows Defender firewall, right? turn on Windows Defender firewall. Okay. So if there are any blocking attempts or hacking attempts or something, this firewall will detect that and it will safeguard your system, your machine, right? Now when you are doing a load test, right, like you will be simulate. So we'll discuss that later. We'll discuss this firewall. So basically, you want to give some brief idea about that. I have to explain like the load testing architecture. Fine. So I'll explain this point later on. Okay. When we are doing test executions, I'll explain this. All right. So these are general requirements. General requirements means like, these are applicable for any project, right? And now, so what are the goals of performance testing activity? What are the goals? What is the purpose of doing performance testing, or why the client need performance testing for their application, right? So these are the examples. Evaluate system against performance criteria, discover what part of the system perform poorly and under what conditions, right? What parts of the system, what does this mean? Discover what parts of the system. What does this mean? Can you see in this diagram? Can you tell me what does that mean?
It could be the web server or application server or the DB.
Right, exactly. So when I say like different parts of what parts of the system, right? So these all make a web application, right? So web server, application server, database server, load balancer, network, right? All these make a web application, right? So when there are like sometimes like so one of these components may be performing poorly, maybe giving slow performance, right? So our job is to find out, to discover what parts of the system perform poorly and under what conditions, whether it is under what load or under what configuration it is performing slow, right? It is giving poor performance, right? So to find out that, these are few examples why do we need to do performance testing, right? And compare two platforms with the same software to see which platform or to see which performs better, right? So we have to collect this, we have to check with the client what exactly is their main objective. What is the main objective of doing performance testing? And the next requirement is what will be the acceptance criteria for each performance test, right? What will be the acceptance criteria? Means when can you, how can you define that a test is passed or failed, right? Say for example, I gave some examples here. All user transactions should pass with response time not more than 5 seconds, right? These are some examples. Some clients will be saying that my all my pages should take not less than more than 3 seconds or 5 seconds, right? Or login should take not more than 3 seconds. A report should take not more than 5 seconds. For example, you are using a net banking application and sometimes you generate an account statement, right? Suppose you want to you want to download a quarterly statement for the last quarter, right? So it will be generally taking some time, right? It will be taking more time because it has to pull all the transactions for the past 3 months or past 6 months or whatever duration is selected, isn't it?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that may be having more response time. The response time of that may be more, right? But login should be less. Homepage or login should be less, right? So that way the client will have SLAs for each of these. Okay, we got some new term, SLA. What is SLA? SLA stands for service level agreement, right? Service level agreement means each page will have some response time SLA. Response time SLA means means something like this. Okay, so client will say something like this. Client is expecting that login should not take more than 3 seconds, right? Report should not take more than 5 seconds. Obviously report will take more time than other things, right? And home page should not take more than some 2 seconds, right? Home page should be loaded in 2 seconds, right? These are response time SLAs. Okay, so you have to check with the client, what are your SLAs or what is the acceptance criteria for each performance test, right? And some clients may be having an SLA like this, acceptance criteria like this. At least 95% of the user transactions should be successfully completed, right? user transaction. What is meant by transaction, guys? Okay, let me explain. I think I didn't cover for you. So transaction is nothing but user action. Okay, transaction is nothing but a user action. Suppose you type gmail.com, or suppose you type irctc.co.in. This is one transaction, right? You sent a request for IRCTC homepage. This is one transaction, right? Now, so suppose you search for some like once you click on search, right, you are getting this login. So you enter your username, password, and captcha, and you click on sign in. That is one transaction, right? These are all transactions. Transaction is nothing but a user action. Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? And some clients will be saying like this: 95% of the user transactions should be successfully completed. They should not be more than 5% of the failure. Or some client will ask like they should not be more than 1% of failures. Right? Means 99% of the transaction should be completed. I can accept only 1% failure rate. Right? So you have to ask what is the acceptance criteria. Are we good so far?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Any queries before we move to the next one? Any queries in this requirement gathering general thing? Or general requirements, any queries over here?
No.
So,
Okay.
Kichor, just one point, in point number 7, you mentioned first is discover what parts of the system. So that understood. But compared to platforms with same software, this means we are having two setups for the same application, and we will be running our load test against two different application. Same application but deployed on two different servers. So
Right. Two different operating systems are two different, different operating systems are two different hardware. Is it clear?
okay,
When I say platform, like different hardware or software. Hello.
yeah, clear.
Okay. Right. So these are general requirements, right? Now shall we move to the next slide or any other queries over here?
No.
Can I take your silence as no? Okay.
Yes.
Going to the next one. So the next type of requirement is architectural requirements, right? So let me explain this, requirement gathering, like architectural requirements. So in under architectural, right? So the first and foremost thing is what type of application it is, right? The first and foremost type is what type of application it is, whether it is a web application or a mobile application or a client server application, right? So applications can be broadly classified into three types. Web-based means browser-based applications, right? And mobile apps means that, right? You are using a lot of mobile apps, right? Each one of you are using a lot of mobile apps, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Client server application. Client server application means thick client application. Means the one which you install on your machine, right? On your laptop or desktop. That is called as a client server application. Is it clear? Let me give some example to this, client server and web-based. You all install Zoom on your machine, or you are joining from browser?
Install Zoom on machine. I have installed Zoom.
Zoom on mission.
Right. Most of you install Zoom on your machine, right? So that is called as a typical example for client server application. Means you install the Zoom client on your machine, right? And if you are using, alternatively, you can join this meeting from a browser also, right? If you join from a browser, that becomes a web-based application. Means you are using a web-based application there. Clear? And let me give one more example for this, to give differentiation between client server and desktop and web-based application. So you may be using, every one of you should be using some net banking application, right?
Yes.
Right, for your fund transfer or or payments or something like you use net banking application, right? But if you go to a bank, right, next time when you go to a bank, right, so observe that what application they are using, the bank employees are using. Do they use a net banking application only? If you went to deposit cash or withdraw cash, right, so what application they will be using?
They have their own application on their
Right.
system.
So like if you have any friends in the bank, check with them what application they use. In India, like in our country, most of the banks use a Infosys product called Finacle. Most of the banks use this Finacle application. So it is a core banking solution developed by Infosys guys. Okay, this was developed by Infosys. Finacle is a banking software developed by Infosys, to assist financial corporations for digital banking, blah blah blah. Right. So most of the banks will be using this Finacle application. Right. They will not be using browser-based application, but they will install this Finacle application on their desktop, on their machine, and they will be using that application. Right. So that is a that basically that is a client server application or a desktop application. Is it clear? And like we as an end user, we use browser based application. Like if you are using ICICI, you use ICICIbank.com, right? Yes or no? For all our banking
Yes.
operations,
Yeah.
net banking application as an end user, or online SBI.com. So whatever bank it is, right? And let me give one more example. Suppose you want to book a ticket on yourself. You want to book a train ticket, right? We all use irctc.co.in, right? But if you go to a reservation counter, will they use irctc.co.in?
No.
No, no.
Reservation counters, they will not use irctc.co.in. They will use some desktop application which is installed on their machine. Okay, they'll use some desktop application or client server application. I will explain difference between architecture of this two client server and web based application in one of the next sessions. Okay, so for now you understood the difference between a client server and browser based application.
Yes, sir.
I see.
All right.
Yes, sir.
I'm searching for that slide where we have that. Yeah, here it is. Right, I'll explain this later on. Okay, this is a this is a desktop application. We call that as two-tier architecture. That falls under two-tier architecture, and browser-based applications fall under three-tier architecture. I'll explain this later on. Okay. So for now, you understood the difference, right? What is the difference between a browser-based application and a desktop application, right? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And we have to know what type of application it is, right? So then we can decide on the tool, then we can decide on the team structure. See, I worked on mostly web applications only. I didn't get a chance to work on mobile applications till now, right? So if we got a mobile application project, I cannot take up that, right? So but if it is a web application, yes, I can do. Or if it is a desktop application, I can do, right? So based on this information, like you have your team lead or project lead should compose your team, right? Or else you need to brush up on those. Suppose desktop application I worked long back, so I can quickly brush up on those concepts, like which protocol to use and all, right? So as part of the general requirement, like requirement gathering, sorry, as part of the requirement gathering, so we need to collect all this information, right? What type of application it is that we are testing, right? And in which technology or platform the system is developed, whether it is a Java application or .NET application or SAP or PHP or any other application, right? If it is a Java application, so J2E means Java. J2E stands for Java 2 Enterprise Edition. Okay, ignore that. That's not you. Okay, let me write it down otherwise. So J2E stands for Java 2 Enterprise Edition. Java 2, sorry. Okay, J2 stands for Java 2 Enterprise Edition. So basically, you should ask the client, in which technology or platform the application is developed, Okay. And like what database is used for the application to test? What is the underlying database, right? So if it is Oracle or MySQL or SQL Server, we have a lot of different database servers, right? So we have to know what is the database, underlying database for that. So these all come under application architecture basically. So when you collect this, application architecture, you will get all this information. Okay. And which application server is running with the system, whether it is okay, like did I explain web server, application server architecture, guys, to you? Yes, is this covered for you?
Yes.
This is covered, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So which application server is running with the system. See, if you observe this diagram, there is something called app server, application server, right? So we have to ask the client what is the web server, what is the application server, what is the database server. Or if you ask the client to share the architecture diagram, application architecture diagram, you will get all these details. Clear? But we should have a understanding of all this, like what type of application it is, and what is the application architecture, what is the web server, database, what is database server, and all, right? And what is the communication protocol between the client and the server, whether it is HTTP or HTTPS or TCP or FTP. Right? TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol. If someone is taking running notes, you can note it down. TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol, and FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. Right? So we should ask the client, what is the communication between your browser and server, right? And any encryption used for sending and receiving the request response, right? We'll discuss this, what is this encryption, and also later on. Okay. So once we start scripting, right, then you will come across some encrypted messages. Then I will explain this. All right. And any captcha used in any of the in-scope business flows. Okay. There is any captcha. I hope everyone knows what is this captcha, right?
Yes.
So when you nowadays, all banking sites have some this captcha thing, right? So for example, I have SBI Net Banking. So this is captcha, right? See, apart from username and password, you have to enter this image captcha. So whatever letters are displayed here, you have to enter it here, right? This is image captcha, right? So now, why should you ask this information? You should ask the client if there is any captcha kind of mechanism, right? The reason why you should ask is we cannot handle this captchas with the tool, right? In the script, we cannot handle this captchas. That's why we have to ask the client to disable the captcha or make it static. You got it, right? See, every time this letters changes, right? The captcha changes, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Along with username and password, if you want to log in, if script low, in the script you covered one login step, right? In the scripts you will have login steps, right? Homepage, login, and then fund transfer, and so on, right?
Yes.
So in the login step, you will pass username and password in the login step. Apart from that, you have to enter the captcha also. But but thing is the challenge here is we cannot handle the captchas with the tool. With script, we cannot handle the captcha. That's why we have to ask the client if there are any captchas in any of the flows, and ask them to disable this captcha or make this as static. Static means generally like real time this captcha changes, right?
Yes, I mean,
Yes.
it's a dynamic.
But we cannot
Yes,
handle
sir.
that captcha. So if you make it static, right, we can always enter that static characters if it
Right.
is made as static, right? So that's why like in the requirement gathering phase, you have to ask the client if there is any captcha involved used in any of the business flows, right? This is the reason captchas cannot be handled with script. So we need to get it disabled or removed or static. Static means which doesn't change. I hope everyone knows the meaning of static.
Yes.
right? Static and
Okay.
dynamic. Dynamic is something which changes, right? Static is doesn't change. Static means which doesn't change anytime, right? So we have to, ask the client, if there are any captchas involved. So if there are any captchas, we need to get them disabled or removed or static. Make them as static. Is it clear so far?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, yes.
Clear.
Now, so let's move to the next slide then, right? So, and what does the target system look like? We'll discuss this also later on. Okay, and the last one in architecture is, are there any known issues in the application? If client has already identified some issues with the application, examples are memory leaks, higher CPU and memory utilization, right? You know this, everyone knows this, right? Sometimes some applications take more CPU and more memory, right? Higher CPU and higher memory utilization means if the application is taking more CPU and more memory, right? And unexpected growth in regular visitors and more response time, which leads to timeout errors. Sometimes, the page loads and loads and, like it will be loading forever. And then after some time, it will say after 3 minutes or so, it will say timed out, right? You get a timeout message or, or you see some page can't be displayed message sometimes, right? So we can ask the client, if there are any issues already identified with the application, right? Let us take the, your vehicle example, right? So you went to give, like you went to a service guy, right? And you are giving your vehicle to you for servicing, right? So what will he ask before taking, you went to the you bought a new vehicle, and you are giving it in the showroom for regular service, right? Then what does he ask? He will ask like, are you having any problems, right? Or
Yes.
you will tell all the problems, right? If you are having mileage issue, or if you are having, indicator is not working, or you are having some vibration while driving, right? Handle vibration while driving, something like this, right?
Yes.
You'll give the list of issues, right, in your application, or else he will ask you. So like he will ask you, how is the mileage that what all checks he need to do, right? Or else, before taking your vehicle, he'll start the vehicle, and he will drive it, and he will note it down whether indicator is working, horn is working, and all this, right? The same way we have to ask the client, you have to ask the client if there are any issues that are already identified, right? Higher CPU and memory utilization, if you compare that with a vehicle, you can say, high fuel utilization. If it is taking, if it is giving less mileage, if your vehicle is giving less mileage, means it is consuming more fuel, isn't it?
Yes.
He will try to find out what is the reason for that, and he will try to fix that issue. Yes or no? You will expect him to fix the
Yes.
issue.
Yes.
In the same way, here also, as a performance test engineer, we are supposed to find out what are the issues, right? Identify the issues, and we have to fix those issues. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Next, next architectural there are a few more. Next architectural requirement is, do you have any traffic monitoring tool deployed on the web server? Again, I'll discuss this also later on. And for a web application, is there any dependency on the client browser version, right? For a web application, means for a browser-based application, is there any dependency on the client browser version? Some applications work only in Chrome, some applications work only in Firefox, right? Or some applications may not work in Edge browser, because their application is not supporting that browser. So we have to ask if there are any such dependencies. Is it clear? Is this point clear?
Yes. Yes.
Clear, sir.
Right? And the next one is like, will you provide a separate test environment to do a performance testing, right? Will you provide a separate test environment to do performance testing? Service-based company is asking the client, do you have a separate test environment to do performance testing or not, right? We discussed this already in the prerequisites. It is strongly recommended to that test environment should be separate and identical to production environment. We discussed this in the last session, prerequisites one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
We should be having a separate test environment for doing performance testing. We also have to make sure that we have to ask the client, in the requirement gathering phase itself, we have to confirm that from the client, right? And are there any specific requirements for the input data? Yes, there are, around 35 requirements. You need not remember all these. Okay. There are around 33. You need not remember all these, but remember at least, 5 or 10 out of these 33. It is good enough if you remember at least these, I will share an Excel sheet to you on this requirement gathering, right? In real time, what you will do is you will share that to the client. Okay, let me show you that requirement gathering if I have it handy. I'll share one nice format. Okay, I have different 2-3 formats. I'll share one good format for requirement gathering. So what you will do is you will just share that Excel sheet to the client and ask him to fill that, wherein you will have all this. But you should be having an understanding of each of them, right? That's why I'm explaining this, guys. Okay. So let me stop the screen share. Let me stop. Right. So I'll share that, requirement gathering document to you. So, you can go through that. So, and the next one is, are there any specific requirements for the input data, right? So, for example, like, if you want to enter some credit card in the critical business flow, right? So, will they provide the data and all, right? They have to, client will provide the data or zip codes, right? So, this also should be provided by the client, right? Or else we need to populate the data. And, data uniqueness means, is there any condition that, you cannot enter the same data more than once, or it is time sensitive means, does that data expire after some time? So we will collect this requirement as well. And how do the real-time users access the application? How does the real-time user access the application, whether it is RDP or web or mobile, whether they access from a browser or whether users access from a mobile or remote desktop, RDP for remote desktop. Okay. So, or whether, the users access through remote desktop connection. All right. So how do the users access the application? So this is another architectural requirement. The next comes, any queries over here in this architectural? We have 3 slides. So I think this is a starting one. Yes, 2 and 3. We have 3 slides on architectural. Any queries over here?
I have one query.
No queries. Can we go to the next?
I have one query.
Yes. Please mention your name.
I'm Chandra. So,
Yeah.
so for example, if JMeter is not supporting any protocol, so do we have any add-ons, or do we need to shift to LoadRunner?
For example, if JMeter is not supporting particular protocol, right?
Then do we have any add-ons, or do we need to switch on to LoadRunner?
JMeter has different plugins. So you may
Plugins, okay.
it has different plugins. So we have to see if we can support the JMeter supports the protocol with the help of that plugin.
Okay.
If it doesn't have a plugin or add-on or extension, so then we have to go for some other tool.
Okay.
Some other tool which supports that. So I have shown you some, let me show you one more. For example, SAP application, we cannot, SAP GUI application can't be tested with JMeter. Okay. JMeter is a good application for, browser-based applications only mostly, right? But, so there are some applications which can't be tested with JMeter. So then you have to go for some other tool. Like, for example, WebLoad is a, license cost is less, right? It's economical. License cost is very less and it is economical. So in the same way, Neoload license cost is also less. So, LoadRunner, only LoadRunner license cost is high. So you have other alternatives in that case if your JMeter doesn't support that. You have other alternatives like, WebLoad or Neoload, right?
Thank you.
Any other queries, guys? Shall I move to the next slide, guys?
Yes.
So we'll complete this requirement gathering. I want to complete this requirement gathering today. Last category in requirement gathering is business information, right? So under business information, like, the first and foremost thing is what are the critical business flows of the application, right? So have you identified the performance scenarios of your system? Means what are the critical business flows of your application? Suppose you are testing Facebook application, right? So what are the critical business flows of Facebook? It can be login, viewing post, right? An example here, guys. So for Facebook application, performance scenarios can be login, viewing post, adding posts, commenting in image uploading, sending invitations, chatting, etc. Right? These are the critical business flows of Facebook application. Right? So you have to ask the client, can you provide us what are the critical business flows of your system? These come under business because these are the critical business flows of the application. Is it clear, guys? How they are classified? See, observe that under architectural, you have what is the database server, what is the application server, what is your application architecture, what is the target user load, what type of application it is, right? All these comes under architectural requirements, correct? Under business requirements, what are the critical business flows of the application? That is the first and foremost thing. And do you have statistics? How many users visit your site in 24 hours, right? How many users will be accessing your site in a day, right? So we have to get that information from the client. I have some numbers here. Facebook is accessed by more than 1.45 billion users daily. This is as per March 2018 statistics, right? And monthly Facebook usage is 18 hours per user, it seems. On an average, each person spends like, in a month, each user on an average spends 18 hours, it seems, on Facebook, right? So, and this is required, for suppose, Facebook, how many users, suppose you are testing Facebook application, you have to ask like, how many users will use Facebook application on a day, on an average, right? And, then you have to test as per that number, right? Guys, don't worry, Facebook, you'll like unless until you work for Facebook, right? So Facebook has this, its own, development and testing company. So unless until you are working in Facebook, like you will not, you need not worry that, we have to test an application with 1.5 billion or 2 billion users. Okay. So mostly you'll be doing like 10,000 users or 20,000 users or, max, 50,000 or 1 lakh users. That's it. Not in billions. Okay. And how do you see your users accessing the application? The next requirement is how do you see your users accessing the application? Whether they will be accessing throughout the day or they will log in simultaneously, means they will log in at once, right? Or certain number at specified intervals. Certain number at specified intervals means, for example, morning, client may say that morning time my application will have some 10,000 users. Afternoon time it will have some 12,000. And evening night time you'll have some 8,000 or 7,000, right? So is it something like that? Certain number of users at specified intervals. And what is the average user session time on your system? So Facebook user average session time is 20 to 23 minutes. Means once we log into Facebook, like, each user will be spending around 20 to 23 minutes on the application on Facebook, right? So is it clear, guys?
Yes.
Clear.
Yes.
And how many transactions does the end user do per day in the application? How many transactions does the real-time user do in the application? And how much important is the sitting location of your end users, right? Do they sit in the same location? Or are they distributed across the globe, right? So this is another important requirement. Where are the end users located? Do they sit in the same location? Or are they distributed across the globe? For example, Facebook will have users across the globe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Facebook will have users across the globe, right? Isn't it? And can you give some example for this? Do they sit in the same location? Can you give some example for an application where it has users from same location, one location, 1 or 2 or 3 locations only?
IRCTC.
No. IRCTC will be having users across country, right?
Or you can CoWIN application that's only from India. Right?
No, in a particular city, particular location, only 1 or 2 locations. Okay. So if there is an application used by customer support team, right? Guys, assume that some applications, all applications have customer support team, right? Customer care center, right? and their users will be sitting in some location, they will not be spread out throughout the country. So for example, they have office in Mumbai or Chennai or Bangalore, right? That application will be used only from same location, from their office only, isn't it?
Yes.
See, suppose you call your customer care, they will raise some ticket for you, right? So they will raise some ticket for you and they will provide you some SR number, service request number. So in that case, they will be using some web application, right? Some application to raise the ticket and track those tickets. Yes or no? Those kind of applications, they will be working from a call center, from a office, from a single location, right? So the users of that application will not be spread across the globe, right? Only that application will be accessible only to that customer support team. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right? So we have to know whether, suppose you are testing that application, then you can generate the load from single location, right? We'll discuss this again when we are doing testing. We'll discuss this. Don't worry about that if you don't understand something. Okay, next I will share this recording as well. You can go through this recording after after 1 month or so. Then you will get more clear idea on all this, right? Why do we need to collect all the requirements, right? Once we do scripting and test executions, then you will get more clear idea, like why should we collect these many requirements. Okay, and do we have set acceptable maximum transaction complete time? Okay, this is something related to SLA. System response time should not exceed 5 seconds while retrieving user's order history. Suppose like you are you want to see what are the your previous orders in Facebook or Flipkart or Amazon, right? So they have set some response time SLA for that it should not take more than 5 seconds, right? Not exactly, but I'm just giving some numbers, guys. For every page, page, they will set some SLA or maximum time, maximum transaction completion time. Okay, so you have to collect what are the SLAs for each page, how much, and a home page, what is the SLA for home page, what is the SLA for login, and so on, and what is the SLA for statement, account statement generation or order history, and so on, right? You have to collect the SLAs of each transaction. And what is the peak load time on the production server, right? So if you take Facebook, right, maximum number of US based users log on to Facebook at 8 p.m. EST, it seems, right? Maximum number of users, US based users, will be using Facebook at 8 p.m. EST, it seems. Okay, so right, so but now we are like because of pandemic we are working from home, and we are checking Facebook anytime. Okay, we can check it anytime, right? There is no one to monitor now, right? What you are doing and what you are asking. So like when you are collecting the requirements, like you have to ask the client when is the peak load time on your server, when there will be more number of users on your application, right? And on peak load time, roughly how many users are accessing the system? When you say peak load, can you tell me? You have to ask the client how many users will be accessing the system, right? And Facebook is accessed by up to 10 million users during peak hours. At a time, 10 million users will be using this Facebook application, it seems. Okay, and what will be the workload model? This is important to understand. When I say workload model, right, workload model means here we discuss that how many users does Facebook have on an average. What is the average user load, guys? How many users visit? So say for example, this is your average load, 1.5 billion, right? So and 1.5 billion will not be doing the same viewing post, right? Some may be adding posts, some may be adding comments, some may be uploading images, some may be chatting, right? So you workload model means of all the users, right? How many users will be concurrently logging in? Means at a time, how many users will be logging in? How many users can view posts at a time? How many users will be viewing posts? And at a time, how many users will be adding posts, right? So this is user load distribution. This is also called as user load distribution or workload model. Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
And how many simultaneous users we came to like just only 2 more. So So how many simultaneous users the system intends to support, means this is nothing but the target user load, right? So currently Facebook is supporting 10 million simultaneous users, it seems. Okay. Currently Facebook is supporting 10 million simultaneous users, but in future it should support 20 million simultaneous users. So you have to ask the client, like, how many simultaneous users your system, your application need to support, right? And are there any time constraints for running the test? Okay, means for doing the load test, performance testing, are there any time constraints? Like the server can be accessed only outside business hours, or server can be accessed from only during this time. So we have to, ask the client whether, you can run the test anytime or there are any time constraints. Okay. And would you like to share any additional information? If it is not covered, if any additional information is not covered in this, you are asking the client saying that, do you have any other additional information? So, like we collect all these requirements from the client, right? So of course, like, junior team members or junior resources will not be, completely responsible for this. However, these are required for interview. Okay. So this is one of the interview FAQ. They will ask like, what is performance testing life cycle? Can you explain me performance testing life cycle? So you will say that requirement gathering, scripting, test executions. Now the next question would be, can you list out some requirement gathering? What requirements you collect generally, right? They will expect you to tell at least like 5 to 10 of these. Out of this, you have around 33, right? So, you have to remember and, mention at least 5 to 10 requirements that you collect.
Kishore, just one question. In point number 30, we mentioned it for Facebook user, 1 million users can concurrently log in. And point 31, we are saying currently Facebook is supporting 10 million simultaneous users. So there is difference between concurrent and simultaneous. So
Yes. Yes, there is a difference between concurrent users and simultaneous users.
So what is this meaning of this 31? Currently Facebook is supporting 10 million simultaneous users, please.
Okay. So I'll cover that. Okay, don't worry. I'll
Okay.
cover that. For example, so this slide speaks about concurrent users and simultaneous users. Concurrent users concurrent users means all users may not perform the same task. See, there are some users. There are 5 users in this diagram. There are 5 users who are accessing the application, right? One user completed all the iterations, all the transactions, home page, login, search flight, completed all the transactions and logged out. Some user is doing payment, right? He's doing this book flight ticket transaction. Third user is doing selecting flight, right? So each user is doing a different task, right? So these are called as concurrent users. Okay. So whereas simultaneous users means B users accessing same page at the same time, means all the users who are doing same transaction at some point of time, they are called as simultaneous users.
Okay.
So that is the difference between concurrent users and simultaneous users. Okay.
Yeah, got
So
it.
in this example, concurrently login means like, it should be actually simultaneous, right? So in this example, like there are 1 million users can log in at the same point of time here in this case.
Okay.
So, and here Facebook supports 10 million simultaneous users, means at a time, Facebook can be accessed by 10 million users at a time, right? Any transaction, they can do same transaction at any point of time. 10 million users can do, for example, 10 million users can log in at same point of time. Means this application supports, those many number of users. Yeah. Any other queries? If you don't have any other queries, I will pass the recording, guys.